Right now, Lenny Curry joins us, chairman of the Republican Party of Florida. Your overall view, these 60 days, how did things turn out for lawmakers there?
Big win for all Floridians. On the road to creating more jobs, taking care of our teachers who are educating our children. So it's a big win from the governor and the Republican-led legislature for all Floridians.
Really interesting, too, as we got ready for the start there in March and February, the governor was saying some things that you went, is this the same we're going to raise? And ultimately, it turns out the budget is the highest the state's ever had. We did see some increase in educational funding. Let's talk about that. You said you wanted to talk about education. Significant legislation, that $1.2 billion increase. Is that right?
That's right. We are at record high in terms of the state dollars put into public education in the state of Florida.
Isn't that putting back what was kind of taken out of years past?
$1.2 billion last time, $1.2 billion this time. If you look collectively at what the governor and the legislature are putting into education, just from pure state dollars, so what comes from the state of Florida, it's at a record high.
Do you like the idea? The governor said in February, hey, we're going to try and give pay raises to teachers. Teachers like it. I'm sure they'd like to see even more, but...
Well, look, I have kids in public schools. I love their teachers. They work hard. Our school teachers in the state of Florida were recently rated the most effective teachers in the country, so it was the right thing to do.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about economy. I know that's something that the governor has been after on jobs. What you were mentioning to me earlier was manufacturers' sales tax exemption is going to bring some business to Florida, create some jobs.
That's right. It's an exemption that the governor was one of his initiatives. The legislature passed it, and it exempts these manufacturing companies on purchasing equipment for a period of time, which will incent them to go out and buy equipment, hire more employees, and continue the job growth that we're experiencing in Florida, which is over 300,000 jobs created since Rick Scott's been governor. Contrast that to over 800,000 lost prior to his term as governor. Florida is heading in the right direction.
A lot of the country, I keep hearing the governor say, should be mirroring what Florida does, right?
Absolutely. I mean, look, if you look at a majority of the states that are experiencing significant job growth, most of them, a majority of them, are led by Republican governors. If you look at the debate that's going on in Washington, D.C. right now, important issues, but they're not talking and dealing with the things that people care about, Americans care about, like we are in Florida. And that is getting a job that gives you a purpose every day and educating our kids so they can go on and pursue their dreams.
Let's talk a little bit about ethics. Senator Getz' bill. Tell me a little bit about this in terms of this bill. I know that there was some talk about ethics need to be reformed, or there need to be some more measures there.
Well, big picture, it creates more transparency, and it requires legislators, if there's a conflict of interest in something they're voting on, they can't take a vote on that. So it's just more transparency, less temptation for a elected official to maybe cast a vote that would help them.
How is it managed? How is it monitored, I guess?
We'd have to look at the process. But look, the bill was passed like any law. Now it's got to be implemented. And the good news out of session is we had economic initiatives, education initiatives, ethics initiatives, and then election law reform.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I know the supervisors of elections, there's a group of them that said, hey, we want to look at reform after what happened last year and just see ways to improve. There's still some debate on whether it went far enough on election reform. What's your thoughts?
I mean, positive. I think that one of the big things that came out of election reform was the elimination of CCEs, which are these big entities that elected officials could use to raise money, very little transparency and reporting requirements. Those are gone. That was an initiative of the Speaker of the House. That's a big win as well for Floridians.
There's something about political action committees? Is that also
yes,
the case?
That's right. That's right.
Are those out?
They are.
All right, so I just asked about that. I remember last summer when we were going through some of this. Even I think of that Republican race for the primary between Weinstein and Dean. There were some ads that both candidates said, "That's not on me. That's not my campaign." But it's still impacted.
I mean, look, I'm sure folks and organizations will find loopholes. But I think the big thing is now you have, particularly with the elimination of CCEs. Candidates will not have the ability to have these entities that they raise hundreds of thousands of dollars with no accountability.
So trying to level the playing field there.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. That's the Republican perspective from Lenny Curry.